Hey there, my name is Leonard. I'm student number 3345462, and this is my AVMA task video for Clinical Pathology 1, VTHT 2223-31420. Okay, so I'm going to demonstrate how to perform a jugular venipuncture. I'm going to be using a 3 ml syringe with a 22 gauge needle on it. It is 3/4 of an inch. And so we're just going to be pulling for in-house blood work. So I've got my tubes right here. So I'm going to go ahead and occlude the vein. And I'm going to spray the area with some alcohol that's going to help to sterilize it, as well as make the vein pop out a little bit. Let's see if I can get my... Alright, so I'm going to make sure my bevel is facing up towards me. I'm going to insert my needle and pull back on my syringe. Alright. So we're going to hold about pressure where that venipuncture was for about 30 seconds. And I'm going to remove my needle and place it in my whole blood separator. And this is a plasma separator. And that is how you pull blood from a jugular venipuncture. Okay, so I'm going to show you how we make our blood smear. I'm going to use a hematocrit tube to collect my blood sample. Alright, I'm just going to put a little dot of blood on my microscope slide right here. You don't want to have too much, it'll be hard to read your sample. But you have just enough. Now I'm going to take my second slide. I'm going to bring it backwards, let it fill up along the side, and push it forward. And there we go, we've got a little feathered edge on there. So we're going to let this dry, and then we'll go ahead and read it under the microscope. Okay, so now that our blood smear is dry, we're going to go ahead and stain it out in our Romanowski stain. So I'm going to put it in each cup for about 30 seconds. So I'm just going to keep a timer on that. Okay, red for 30 seconds. I'm going to make sure you put your caps back on your Romanowski stain as you're not using them. They can tend to dry out a little bit. Okay, and then our purple for 30 seconds.
You got some daggers. Oh, who is this? Gigi?
Mm-hmm.
Jai.
Oh, yeah. You're very sweet.
Tell them we're looking for Calyx. Oh, yeah. All right. Got you.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to get some medicine.
Almost there. Alright, so that's been about 30 seconds. So we're going to take it out, and we are going to rinse it with our distilled water. And we're going to rinse that off as best we can. And then we're going to set it out to air dry again a little while longer. And we're going to make sure that we place it to run away from our feathered edge. That way that way it doesn't affect our results. Make it easier to read. So we're going to let that air dry, and then we'll show you the results in just a minute. Okay, so now that my slide is dry, I'm going to look at it under the microscope. Okay, and I'm going to start at the 4 times objective. And what I'm going to do is, there's the feathered end, and then there's a really thick end. We're going to go right in the middle, which is that mono layer. And that's where everything is nice and evenly distributed. So I'm going to get everything in view on the 4 times lens. There we go. And I'm going to work my way up. 10. Okay. And now next I'm going to go to my my oil. So I'm going to put a little bit of immersion oil on there. Alright, and now I'm going to use my fine focus to move around and get the clearest part. Again, I don't want to be on the feathered edge where there's not a whole lot going on, but I don't want to be where it's too thick where I can't see. I'm going to stay right in that middle mono layer. And slide around, and I'm going to go just up and down, up, over, down, over, throughout the entire field. That way I can look at everything. And I can see some red blood cells, I can see some white blood cells. You can also see artifacts in here. And so that is how you look at a blood smear. And then when you're all finished looking at your sample, you're going to go ahead and you're going to slide your stage down, remove your sample, and then you can use a chem wipe to go ahead and clean that oil off of your lens and then turn off your microscope. Alright, so now I'm going to demonstrate how to make and read a PCV. So I'm going to go ahead and get my tubes out. You always want to make sure that you have 2 tubes, and that's going to be to balance in your spinner. And I've got some EDTA blood right here. I'm going to fill my tubes about 3/4 of the way. There we go. And I'm going to clot it in some clay. The second one. 3/4 of the way, clot it in some clay. Alright. Now I'm going to come over here to our hematocrit spinner. And I'm going to make sure that I put them in with the clay facing outwards. And I'm going to put them directly across from each other to keep it balanced. I'm going to put on my top. And then make sure it's set. And I'm going to spin it for 5 minutes. And we'll go ahead and we'll be back in just a second to read the results. So our hematocrit just finished spinning, so I'm going to go ahead and take out my tubes. We've got our microhematocrit tubes. I'm going to go ahead and line it up. And so you're going to line up the very bottom of your red blood cells to the 0. And you're going to line up the top of your plasma to the 100. I'm going to slide it on over. And then you're going to try and see right where the top of your red blood cells meet. And so it looks like for this patient, it's going to be about 52, so 52% packed cell volume. And normal is going to be between 37 and 55%, so that's pretty good. That's going to be looking for things like anemia. And then next, we're going to go ahead and check our total solids. So you're going to go ahead and break your microhematocrit tube right above the red blood cells, and you're going to put just a little bit, there we go, a little bit of that plasma on your refractometer. Close it and face it towards the light, and you're going to be looking at, there's going to be like a dark blue line at the top, and you're going to come right and see where that line makes. And for this patient, it's going to be at 7.2. And so their total solids is going to be 7.2, and that is how you read your packed cell volume and your total solids.